There will come a day when you wake up and no one is there. No texts, no calls, no one asking how you're doing, just silence. And that's when it hits you. Nobody is coming to save you. The world doesn't owe you love, support, or understanding. Pain is your companion, and your strength is the only weapon you have. You've got to stop begging for help from people who wouldn't bleed for you. Life is war, and you're either the warrior or the casualty. You have to become so mentally and physically strong that solitude becomes your sanctuary, not your punishment. Build yourself in silence. Eat your pain like breakfast. Wake up early. Train your body, sharpen your mind, and learn to love your own company. Every second you waste crying for someone to validate your worth is a second stolen from the savage you're meant to become. The world respects power, not pity. Stand tall even if your legs shake, because no one is coming to lift you. You either become unbreakable or you stay forgotten. The choice is yours. Stop expecting others to rescue you. Rescue yourself. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth most people run from all their lives. We grow up with this belief that someone will eventually notice our pain, hold our hand, fix our broken pieces, and guide us out of the darkness. But that fantasy will destroy you if you let it. The longer you wait for someone to come save you, the deeper you sink into your own weakness. Nobody owes you healing. Nobody owes you understanding. And absolutely no one will fight for you harder than you should fight for yourself. Waiting for help is how people stay stuck, trapped in comfort zones, stuck in excuses, wasting precious time. The world doesn't slow down for you. It doesn't care how many times you were hurt or abandoned. It doesn't care if you're tired, broken, scared, or confused. Life moves forward, and if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. You have to make a decision right now. Either you become the kind of person who rises through the fire, or you let the fire consume you. Every moment you spend hoping for someone to notice you, to fix you, is a moment you could have spent building yourself into something unrecognizable. Stronger, smarter, sharper. No one's coming to put the pieces of your life together. No one's coming to teach you discipline, to pull you out of bed, to force you to chase your goals. You have to do that yourself. You have to get so tired of your own excuses that you wake up one day and say, enough. Enough weakness. Enough self-pity. Enough waiting. You aren't helpless. You've just been lying to yourself for too long. You've convinced yourself that you need someone else's love, someone else's approval, someone else's permission to become something more. You don't. Everything you need is already inside of you. You just have to stop hiding from it. Rescuing yourself starts with taking ownership of everything. Your pain, your past, your choices, your future. You're not a victim. You're a fighter, even if you've forgotten that. And fighters don't wait. Fighters don't cry for help while sitting still. They bleed, they scream, they fall, and then they get back up. That's the difference between the strong and the forgotten. The strong don't get lucky. They make themselves unbreakable through suffering, through silence, through discipline. You want power? Earn it. You want respect? Demand it through action. You want freedom? Build it brick by brick. No one else is going to build it for you. And the minute you realize that, your entire life changes. You stop begging. You stop whining. You stop hoping for people to understand what you've been through. And you start becoming the person who never needed rescuing in the first place. That's when the real shift happens, when you stop needing and start becoming. You don't need a cheerleader. You need to be your own savage motivation. Or you don't need a shoulder to cry on. You need a mission that's bigger than your pain. You don't need validation. You need to look in the mirror and respect the animal you're building every single day. Because once you take full responsibility, once you stop expecting anyone to hand you a better life, you unlock something that can't be taught: self-mastery. That's where real confidence comes from. Not from praise, not from support, but from knowing deep in your bones that you did it alone, that you became a beast when life tried to break you. Look around. The world isn't built for the soft-hearted. It's not made to comfort the weak. It rewards the relentless, the ones who train while others sleep, the ones who learn while others complain, the ones who keep going when everything inside them screams to quit. And if you think you can skip the suffering, you're wrong. There's no shortcut to power, no cheat code to resilience. You either earn it through discomfort or you stay the same. And staying the same in a world that's always moving is the fastest way to lose. Or lose your time, your potential, your future. That's what happens when you wait to be saved. Life passes you by. Opportunities vanish. Dreams rot. You become another story of what could have been. Rescue yourself. That means waking up earlier than your excuses. That means cutting off distractions. Dead weight. People who drain your energy instead of fueling your fire. That means training your mind to endure pain without folding. Training your body to handle pressure. That means doing the work even when no one sees it, even when no one claps, especially then. Because it's not about showing others who you are, it's about proving it to yourself. When you become your own rescue mission, you stop looking outward for what you were supposed to build inward. You stop comparing your journey to others, and you focus fully on becoming a version of yourself that would have terrified your past self. And that right there is power. Stop thinking someone will fix what they didn't break. Stop hoping someone else will carry your burden when it's your soul that needs to grow stronger. You were meant to walk through fire, meant to survive storms, meant to build a life out of nothing but grit and guts. You're not here to be saved. You're here to become untouchable. Stop wasting your energy on people who wouldn't even answer the phone if you were drowning. Use that energy to build, to fight, to grow, to dominate. This world bows to those who don't flinch, who don't wait, who don't beg. It respects those who rise from the ashes with nothing but willpower and scars. You don't get that by sitting still, by crying for help, by waiting. You get that by becoming your own answer. So stop looking for rescue. Stop waiting for a lifeline. You were born with everything you need. You just have to unleash it. Rescue yourself. Pain is not the enemy. Weakness is. Most people live their entire lives trying to avoid pain. Emotional pain, physical pain, mental struggle. They run from it, numb it, medicate it, hide behind distractions and fake smiles, pretending it doesn't exist. But pain isn't your enemy. Pain is your teacher. Pain is your mirror. It shows you who you really are. It strips away the lies, the ego, the excuses, and leaves you face to face with the raw, unfiltered version of yourself. That version might be bruised, tired, and screaming on the inside, but it's real. And that's where true growth begins. Weakness is the real enemy. The silent killer. Weakness is the part of you that looks for the easy way out, that justifies staying the same, that tells you to quit when things get hard. It whispers in your ear that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not worthy. And the more you feed that weakness, the more you listen to it, the more it grows. Weakness loves comfort, and comfort is the graveyard of greatness. The moment you let weakness dictate your choices is the moment you start losing. Not in a dramatic, sudden way, but slowly, quietly, invisibly. You lose your edge. You lose your fire. You lose the future you could have built. Pain, on the other hand, forces change. It forces action. It pushes you to grow when nothing else will. No one changes in comfort. No one evolves when everything is easy. You don't get stronger without resistance. You don't build character without struggle. Pain shows up when you're at the edge of your limits and says, let's see what you're really made of. Most people retreat in that moment. They run back to safety. But the strong, the relentless, they walk into the pain. They face it. They embrace it because they know that pain is proof they're alive, proof they're growing, proof they're doing something that actually matters. You have to flip the switch in your mind. Stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Every painful moment is shaping you into someone unbreakable if you let it. Pain is sharpening you. Weakness wants you to stay soft. Pain is molding you. Weakness wants you to crumble. Pain is reminding you that you still have work to do. Weakness tells you to give up. And if you can't distinguish between the two, you'll spend your life avoiding the very thing that could have made you great. People who run from pain stay stuck. They stay small. They stay controlled by fear. They live behind masks, afraid to take risks, afraid to fail, afraid to feel anything too deeply. But the truth is, if you're not feeling pain, you're not pushing hard enough. You're not stretching your limits. You're not living at full capacity. Pain isn't a signal to stop. It's a signal to lean in, to push harder, to dig deeper. Because everything you want, the strength, the power, the respect lives on the other side of it. And here's the brutal truth. You will never become the person you're meant to be if you keep avoiding pain. You will never build the discipline, the mindset, the body, the empire you want if you keep choosing comfort. The strongest people you admire didn't get there by luck. They didn't escape pain. They endured it. They looked pain in the eye and said, you're not going to break me. You're going to build me. They used their pain as fuel. Every betrayal, every failure, every loss, every sleepless night, they turned it into fire. That's what separates the average from the elite. Not talent, not opportunity, but how they deal with pain. Weakness is easy. It's comfortable. It's seductive. It tells you to hit snooze, to skip the workout, to take shortcuts, to give up when things get heavy. It makes you a slave to your emotions. Pain, on the other hand, demands more from you. It demands accountability. It demands effort. It demands that you look at yourself and admit where you've fallen short. And that's uncomfortable. But that discomfort is where the magic happens. That's where real change is born. You can either choose to suffer with purpose now or suffer with regret later. Because one way or another, pain is part of the equation. The question is whether it will be the kind of pain that pushes you forward or the kind that holds you down. Will it be the pain of discipline or the pain of disappointment? The pain of transformation or the pain of staying the same? That choice is always in your hands. Don't confuse pain with weakness. Weakness is giving in. Pain is going through. Pain means you're still fighting. It means you still care. It means you're doing something worthwhile. Weakness wants you to tap out. Pain challenges you to level up, and you can't fake your way through it. Pain exposes you. It shows your true mindset. It reveals whether your goals are real or just talk, whether you have grit or just desire. Anyone can want something. Very few are willing to bleed for it. You want greatness? Pain is the entry fee. You want respect? Pain is the test. You want legacy? Pain is the process. There is no escape from it, so stop looking for one. Stop praying for life to get easier and start training yourself to get stronger. Start using the pain. Turn your heartbreak into hunger. Turn your failures into focus. Turn your setbacks into fuel, because that's how warriors are built. Not by comfort, not by ease, but by choosing the pain over the weakness every single time. You're going to suffer either way. The difference is whether that suffering leaves you bitter or makes you better, whether it destroys you or defines you. Weakness wants you to be a victim. Pain gives you the power to become a victor. That's why you must stop fearing pain. Invite it, seek it, live in it. Because every second you spend fighting through the pain is a second that weakness dies. And the more weakness you kill, the closer you get to becoming untouchable. The strongest version of you is on the other side of pain. And you'll never meet that version if you keep letting weakness win. So next time life hits you, next time you're tired, heartbroken, beaten down, smile. Because you know what most don't. Pain is not your enemy. Weakness is. Solitude is where real strength is forged. It's in the silence, when the world stops clapping, when the noise fades and you're left alone with your thoughts. That's where the real transformation begins. Most people fear being alone because solitude forces them to face the truth. It removes the distractions, the masks, the fake relationships, the noise that keeps them from looking within. But solitude doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't coddle your ego. It strips you bare and says, now let's see who you really are. When you're alone, there's no one to impress, no one to validate your efforts, no one to cover for your excuses. You can't hide in a crowd, or you can't pretend to be strong when no one's watching. That's where strength is forged, in the raw, uncomfortable space where you have to confront your demons, your doubts, your failures. Solitude doesn't just reveal your weaknesses, it gives you the space to destroy them, to build discipline, to learn patience, to develop clarity. Every moment spent in solitude is a moment sharpening your mind, strengthening your core, fortifying your soul. In solitude, you begin to realize how much time you've wasted depending on others for approval, for happiness, for motivation. You realize how fragile you were, how easily shaken by opinions, how addicted you were to noise just to feel alive. But once you embrace being alone, once you stop fearing your own company, you tap into a level of power that most people never even touch. You begin to understand that strength isn't loud. It doesn't need to be posted. Real strength is quiet, calm, and deeply rooted. It's the man who doesn't flinch under pressure, the woman who doesn't beg for validation, the warrior who keeps fighting long after the applause stops. Solitude teaches you to lead yourself, to be your own motivation, your own therapist, your own coach. It teaches you to silence the chaos in your mind and move with purpose, not emotion. It teaches you that self-respect doesn't come from being accepted by others. It comes from knowing who you are when no one's around to influence you. That's why the greats isolate themselves. That's why the disciplined, the successful, the unstoppable spend time alone, because they understand that greatness is built in the dark, far away from distractions, in the grind no one sees. When you learn to sit in solitude and not be driven insane by your own mind, that's when you've started mastering yourself. That's when you realize how much of your life has been dictated by the outside world. And once you cut that chain, once you stop relying on others to give your life meaning, you become dangerous. Because no one can manipulate a person who doesn't need anything from them. No one can break someone who's already been broken and rebuilt alone. That kind of strength can't be taught. It must be earned. Solitude teaches you to appreciate your own thoughts, to listen to your inner voice, the one you've buried under fear and doubt. It teaches you that peace isn't found in the company of others. It's built within. If you don't have peace in solitude, you don't have peace at all, just distractions. And that's why most people stay weak, because they never face themselves. They hide behind friends, social media, relationships, noise. anything to avoid being alone. But in doing so, they avoid the very place where power is born. You don't become mentally tough by always being surrounded by people who agree with you, comfort you, or protect your feelings. You become mentally tough when you sit with pain, listen to the silence, and keep moving forward with no one holding your hand. You grow when you realize your future isn't in someone else's hands. It's in your own discipline, forged in isolation, where excuses die and character is born. Solitude gives you time to think, to reflect, to plan. It's the space where clarity hits you in the face. You begin to ask yourself hard questions. What do I really want? Who do I want to become? What's holding me back? And the answers are never easy. Sometimes they hurt, but they're real. And that truth is what sets you free. You start cutting the noise. You let go of people who drain you. You drop habits that serve no purpose. You build a schedule that reflects your purpose, not your boredom. You stop wasting time pretending and start using your time preparing. When you've spent enough time in solitude, you stop fearing it. You start craving it because you realize it's not loneliness. It's liberation. It's not punishment. It's power. You begin to realize that the most dangerous person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who's been through hell in silence and came back more focused, more grounded, and more ruthless than ever. This is where leaders are made. They're not in crowds, not on stages, not in comfort, but in the quiet, hard moments when no one's watching and no one cares, when it's just you and your will. That's where the battles are won. In the silence, in solitude. When you choose not to quit, not to give in to weakness, not to let the voices of doubt define your direction. And let's be honest, most people will never reach that level. They'll never know what it feels like to sit alone, feel the weight of their own chaos, and still choose discipline over distraction. That's why mediocrity is common and mastery is rare, because solitude is brutal, it's uncomfortable. It forces you to see how much work you actually need to do. But once you get through that discomfort, once you sit long enough in that silence and don't run from it, you become untouchable. You become self-sufficient. You become whole. The truth is, no one is coming to hold your hand. No one is going to give you the strength you refuse to build on your own. You've got to go into the dark. You've got to suffer in silence. You've got to get real with yourself. That's what solitude demands. But in return, it gives you something priceless. The strength to stand alone, the clarity to know your path, and the discipline to walk it without applause. Solitude is not a weakness. It's the birthplace of real strength. The gym sharpens your body. The battlefield tests your will. But solitude is where your soul gets forged, where the armor is built, where the fire is lit. If you can master yourself in silence, there is nothing in the noise of the world that can ever shake you again. Build discipline, not excuses. That's the dividing line between those who succeed and those who stay stuck in the same cycle of mediocrity year after year. Discipline is the foundation of everything. It's the difference between showing up and backing out, between progress and regret, between becoming who you're meant to be and staying who you've always been. Excuses are the enemy. They're seductive, comforting, easy to grab when life gets uncomfortable. But every excuse you make is a brick in the wall that separates you from your potential. And while you're stacking that wall, one excuse at a time, life keeps moving forward. Time keeps slipping away. And so does your shot at greatness. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't wait for motivation. It doesn't need the perfect conditions. It shows up every single day, regardless of mood, circumstance, or convenience. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it rare. Everyone wants the rewards, the success, the physique, the freedom, the respect, but very few are willing to suffer for it. Discipline is suffering. It's choosing the hard road again and again when the easy one is calling your name. It's waking up when your body says sleep. It's working when your mind says rest. It's sticking to your plan when everything in you is begging to quit. Excuses feel good in the moment. They give you a temporary pass. They let you off the hook, but they come with a cost, a long-term bill that always gets paid. Every excuse you make is a step further from your goals, a promise broken to yourself, a little piece of your self-respect chipped away. Until one day you wake up and the dreams you once had feel like distant memories, not because they were impossible, not because you weren't capable, but because you chose comfort over commitment. That's the harsh truth most people won't tell you. Your life is the sum of your disciplines and your excuses. Nothing more. The people you admire, the ones who seem unshakable, successful, powerful, they weren't born different. They weren't handed some special talent or opportunity. They just chose discipline over and over again. When no one was watching, when the odds were stacked against them, when the pain was unbearable. They didn't rely on inspiration. They relied on structure, systems, relentless action. While others were making excuses, they were building habits, and that's why they win. You have to decide what kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be remembered as someone who always had a reason not to try? Or do you want to be the one who showed up anyway? Who did the work when it was hard? Who followed through even when no one else believed? Because in the end, it's not your dreams that define you. It's what you do every day, especially when it's uncomfortable, when it's boring, when it's painful. That's when discipline is born. That's where winners are made. Discipline starts small. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about making the right decision once, then twice, then turning that into a lifestyle. You don't build a champion overnight. You build one rep at a time, one early morning at a time, one tough choice at a time. And the more you choose discipline, the more powerful you become. Because every time you follow through, you reinforce the identity of someone who doesn't quit. Someone who doesn't make excuses. Someone who keeps their word, especially to themselves. Excuses are easy. Anyone can find one. I'm tired. I'm too busy. I'll start tomorrow. But here's the truth. You will never run out of excuses. Life will always give you reasons to put things off, to give less, to settle. Discipline is the refusal to let those reasons control you. It's looking them in the face and saying, not today. And when you stack those not todays day after day, you start building a life that most people only dream about. Because while they're still negotiating with their excuses, you're already miles ahead. You don't need more motivation. You need structure. You need rules that you follow regardless of how you feel. Because motivation fades. Emotion is fleeting. But discipline is a muscle. And like every muscle, it grows when you push it past its limits. That means doing the workout when you're exhausted. That means sticking to your diet when your cravings scream louder than your goals. That means working on your craft when no one's clapping, when no one's watching, when it's just you and your willpower in the dark. Discipline is lonely. It's thankless. It's brutal. But it pays in ways nothing else can. It gives you freedom. The freedom to move with confidence, to trust yourself, to know that when life gets hard, you won't break because you've been through worse. You've suffered by choice. You've endured by design. And now while others are panicking, you're prepared. That's what discipline gives you. Control. Not just over your actions, but over your life. Every time you make an excuse, ask yourself this. Is this helping me become who I want to be? Or is it making me weaker? Because every excuse feeds weakness. Every excuse tells your mind that it's okay to settle. And the more you feed that part of you, the harder it becomes to break free. But every time you choose discipline, you starve that weakness. You silence the voice that says, I can't. And you prove to yourself, one decision at a time, that you can. There are no shortcuts, no hacks. No one is coming to save you. If you want something, you have to go get it. If you want change, you have to create it. And if you want strength, you have to earn it. Through repetition, sacrifice, and unshakable discipline. That's the only way. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop blaming your circumstances. Stop lying to yourself. Build discipline, not excuses, because one day you're going to look back. And the question won't be, what did I dream of? It'll be, what did I build? And if all you ever built were excuses, then that's all your life will be. A story of what could have been. But if you build discipline, you build the unshakable foundation of a life that's real, earned, respected, and unstoppable. The world bows to the relentless, not the helpless. This is the truth people don't want to admit. It doesn't reward the complainers, the soft, or the entitled. It doesn't stop spinning because you feel overwhelmed. It doesn't feel sorry for you when life gets hard. This world respects one thing, resilience. The ability to get hit, get back up, and come back harder. The relentless are the ones who shape the world, bend it to their will, and leave a mark long after they're gone. The helpless are forgotten, victims of their own weakness, buried by excuses and crushed by the weight of their unfulfilled potential. Being relentless is not about being fearless or emotionless. It's about refusing to quit. It's about facing failure and saying, I'm not done. It's continuing to push forward when every part of you wants to give up. The relentless don't cry for sympathy. They work in silence and let results speak. They don't ask for guarantees. They create their own certainty through action. They don't wait for a handout or a lucky break. They go out and take what's theirs. They move with intent, hunger, and purpose, while the helpless sit and wait for someone to fix their lives. The world is hard. It's unfair. It will test you, break you, strip you down, and ask, do you really want it? And the answer isn't in your words. It's in your actions. The helpless fold under pressure. They let fear dictate their decisions. They hide from adversity and seek comfort in distractions. But the relentless, they rise. Every setback fuels their fire. Every failure sharpens their edge. They don't see obstacles as reasons to stop. They see them as invitations to grow stronger. That's why the world bows to them, because they earn respect not through demands, but through domination. Helplessness is a choice. It's a mindset. It's the moment you stop believing in your own ability to change your situation. No one is born helpless. It's learned through repetition, through quitting when it gets hard, through telling yourself you're not enough, through listening to the voices that say, just accept it. But you don't have to stay there. You can choose to become relentless. You can choose to fight back, take control, and forge a new path. But that choice demands sacrifice. It demands responsibility. It demands that you stop blaming, stop whining, and start doing. The relentless build themselves. They weren't born with superpowers. They just refuse to be average. They wake up with purpose, not excuses. They train their bodies, sharpen their minds, and discipline their habits. They treat every day as a battlefield because it is. Life is war, and if you don't fight, you lose. Not to someone else, but to the weaker version of yourself. That version that loves comfort, that runs from pain, that hides in mediocrity. The relentless kill that version daily. They don't negotiate with weakness. They conquer it. You don't get to the top by hoping. You don't succeed by being fragile. The world doesn't owe you success. It doesn't owe you comfort. It owes you nothing. And that's the most freeing truth you'll ever learn, because once you accept it, you stop waiting for life to be fair. You stop expecting things to get easier. You start creating your own momentum, your own power, your own destiny. You start showing up like a force of nature, not a victim of circumstance. Being relentless is about showing up when no one else does. It's about staying consistent when results are slow. It's about putting in reps when everyone else is sleeping. It's about pushing through the pain, embracing the boredom, and mastering the grind. The helpless seek motivation. The relentless rely on discipline. The helpless break under pressure. The relentless grow under it. The helpless want shortcuts. The relentless take the long way and make it count. And here's the thing. The world will test you. It will throw storms your way to see if you bend or break. It will send people to doubt you, to betray you, to try and stop you. And every time, you'll have a choice. Stay helpless or get relentless. When you're alone, broke, tired, heartbroken, that's the proving ground. That's where the world is watching, quietly asking, will you rise or will you fade? Most people fade, but the ones who rise, they're the ones who earn the respect of the world. Relentless people don't just chase goals, they become the kind of person who achieves them. They don't need permission to dream. They give themselves the authority to dominate. They know that hard times are part of the process. They've accepted the grind. They've made peace with the pain because they know what's waiting on the other side. Freedom, mastery, legacy, and they'll bleed, suffer, and sacrifice to get there. Helpless people are obsessed with how they feel. They let their emotions run the show. I don't feel motivated. I don't feel ready. I feel overwhelmed. That's weakness. The relentless acknowledge their feelings, then do it anyway. They move forward even with fear in their gut. They understand that action doesn't require permission from emotion. Discipline isn't